Hello everyone, I'm Marie-Claude, great-granddaughter of Marie-Louise, granddaughter of Yvette, and daughter of Francine. I act as temporary Bear Clan representative in the Life Givers Nation. And this is another report of an amazing meeting that took place yesterday, Friday, March 4th. You can have the recording link to this video I'm going to be sending you. It was a really nice meeting. It was an Indigenous critique on women's freedom in technology, something linked to technology. So a lot of people were there to discuss, science and all of this. It was very interesting. We had a person that said that she studied in neuroscience and she was so turned off with the way it was disconnecting her from, the earth and everything. She just couldn't continue. And as the Longhouse explained, why and the reason, she just completely understood why she had to reconnect with the earth. And science basically was bringing her into the brainwashing of basically destroying our Mother Earth, because we have to face the fact that, the earth is destroyed everywhere. So science did that. So is science conducive, and all of that. So it was an amazing conversation. We talked about helium. Helium is being used in balloon floating and Zeppelin in the UK and whatever. And this is a very important resource for us to get out of ice age. The Longhouse invited everyone to check on that, and how helium is being treated nowadays. We also talked about how non-native, really need an intense deprogramming on every single thing. Everything needs to be relearned, because the way we learned, was in a very male-dominant society. We talked about the agenda, the UN agenda of 2030. They say that we have until 2030 to do something to reverse, the emergency we are all under. And the Longhouse brought an interesting question to us to say, well, they say them that the last, we can act until the 9th moon of this year. That gives us 6 moons. So, and he brought to the attention of the people there, would you rather have 8 years or 6 moons? And when we really deliberated, obviously, if you have 8 years, that means that you will commodify. You will make sure that everything is still comfortable for all the destructive industry right now to transition and everything. But if we do the right thing, which is we have to save our Mother Earth, we stop wars right now. We stop moon colonization, space colonization right now. So in 6 moons, we have enough time to do what needs to be done, the right thing that needs to be done. So it was a very interesting perspective. Also, the Longhouse talked about, I don't know if people saw it in the news, this is massive news and it's not being even talked about, that E equal mc square has been, then they say about this equation that it's now needing to be revisited. That means that all science are, all sciences are based on that. And basically now it's being questioned. The whole thing is being questioned. And he advised everyone to be using that and to rub it in the face of science to show that, no wonder it's destruction everywhere if your equation don't even make sense now years down the line. So interesting point. And we talked about, there's a lady, Life Givers, that question, okay, what about garden and the science of gardening and everything? And the Longhouse answered that, the way the Life Giver should be is just to be. And the life protector observing the life giver will then complement and embellish and help that life giver in the garden to be doing her work. But it's really a lot into the observing the life giver. So this was interesting. There's a science of war, as we see everything being destroyed. Clearly there are plans, there are science to establish war. And the Longhouse says there is a science to peace. And it is the Gayanera Seraskan Goa, the Great Law of Peace. We all know this. It's been in existence for more than 2,200 years. There was another life giver that participated, and she said that the way she was brought up when she was 8 years old, she knew she would be in the military. And now she speaks after spending, I think, 13 years in the army as a, you know, in action basically, and all the trauma and all the understanding and the point of view that she has, the perspective, I mean, that she has now coming out of that, and how she was not aware, you know, they brought her to schooling, you know, what do you want to do when you're going to be an adult, you know, what do you want to do when you're you know, what job do you want to do? And we're forced to decide on these not natural jobs, because it's basically how we're going to put bread on the table, but we don't get the opportunity to just grow naturally and become what we're supposed to be becoming. And it was a very touching testimony, because she did say, well, you know, I was surrounded with all these male dominant guys. I wanted to fit in, so I started making all kinds of strange jokes and everything, and looking back at myself, I'm like, wow, why did I do that? And the answer from the Longhouse, and we hear the Longhouse say that very often, is that the women, if they want to be equivalent to the male in this world, they would have to climb down the evolutionary ladder. And this is what she did, basically, you know, by doing these jokes, sexist joke and all of that. And it made so much sense for her. So it was a very interesting exchange there. And the last point, I felt it was so unbelievable, like how the Longhouse produces white cell. It's basically a white cells factory, and we know what white cells do in the body. It basically goes and grab whatever doesn't have its place there, the foreign, the bacteria, whatever, and gets rid of it. So it's just to show how, with the proper thinking, when we include in our world that we are designed to be living in a world of peace, it affects every single thing, you know, and the way, the perspective that we have on life. So this was, you know, a bit of a summary of that meeting that lasted over 3 hours, 3.5 hours yesterday. Amazing. I encourage you to watch it. Just these are just the points that caught my attention, but much more was discussed. It's well worth the watch. So I'm going to post the link of the actual video, and you have this as a little summary to maybe entice you to watch the whole thing. All right. So have a great day, everyone. Skanagoa.